It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because our favorite national anthem is Kimi ga Yo Mama. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
And welcome back to another edition of Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey, and our guest today is Chris. What do you want to say about yourself for introduction, Chris? Get right in there to the
mic. So I've been here 4 years. I'm an engineer, and I'm just happy to be in Japan. I'm looking forward to staying in Japan as long as I can.
And if he told us any more about his job, he'd have to kill me, so... Yeah. Right. Welcome. And first I want to get your... So Chris has been to some of our shows, and you've done a couple of open mics. What were your experiences when you did open mic? How was it different than what you thought it would be?
Terrifying. Honestly, people think going up and talking or telling a story or think, oh yeah, I'm funny. People think I'm funny. I tell jokes at work and people laugh and smile. But when you're under the lights and you're standing in front of the microphone, I don't care if it's 5 people or if it's 50 people, it's terrifying.
It looks, it looks easy. Even people who've done open mic, 10 times or 12 times, the more experience you have, it makes it look very easy. And that's why I think we get hecklers, because people are like, well, he told a story about, being lost on the train. But if I had a story about being lost on the train, my story would have been funnier than yours. Yeah, but you don't have a story, and you're not a comic.
Yeah.
And, I did a thing one time where I said, it always bugged me that my wife would want to drink water. She'd go, "Oishi?" I'm like, it's not delicious. It's water. It's water. Mango juice is delicious and it has water in it. It's not the water that makes it delicious. It's the mango part. Yeah, it's water. And then afterwards, somebody came up and said, I also have thought that water is not delicious.
Good observation.
Like, did you do a bit about it? No. I said, well, that's the difference between you and me. I got up and I did it. Yeah. And for me, it's therapy, Yeah, I think another thing is, we have a time limit. So we have 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and we tell the open micers don't go over. But when you get up there, you're not even, that's the last thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah. You thought you prepared something. You might even take out my phone and I might have a few topics that I want to mention, but you start rambling and you're nervous, but then all of a sudden you're like, I've been up here for 3 minutes and I've said 3 sentences.
And you add to that when people, we beg people not to heckle all the time. There's a comedian named Steve Hofstetter, and I think he secretly enjoys it because he's really good at it. Sorry, we're getting uncomfortably close here because I have to get it to the mic. But we beg people not to heckle. And even for an experienced comic, I've got a set list in my head. I've got to check. It's a shopping list, and it's in my head. And I'm on the 3rd item. And if you interrupt me, now I forgot what's 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
And I have actually an order that I have to do them in, otherwise it's not as funny. And if you're doing open mic, you're struggling to remember what you were going to say, and then somebody says something like, "When did you shave your beard?" And that wasn't in your plan to talk about that.
Completely thrown off. I wanted to talk about my wife, not about my grooming standards. Yeah.
We had a comic who was doing a pretty funny story, and some lady just thought he was talking about walking from his house past a shop, and the lady thought it was important to the story to know if it was on the left side or the right side of his house. Like, that's not part of the story, lady. Shut up. So, yeah. And then how did you deal with it when you got up and you're terrified? Because some people will just say, that's all I got and walk off. But other people, they actually it's deer in the headlights, and they can't get off. They're kind of paralyzed.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I want to finish, but how do I finish? Where do I stop or say, okay, that's all. Thanks a lot. And it's.
We've actually had to pry your cold dead fingers off of someone's microphone, off of our microphone. We've had to do that before because the guy's just up there, and I'm like, okay, you've been up there for 4 minutes and you said 2 words, so this is getting uncomfortable. Yeah. We're pretty forgiving as experienced comics, but as MC, my job is to keep the mood up all the time. So, people don't know, like, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what people, open micers, are going to do. I got a pretty good idea of what the other comics are going to do because I've seen them before, and I can ask them, and they know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But the open mic guys, I don't know what you're going to do, and if you bring the mood down, or if people walk out because it's 10 minutes of unfunny, we have like 4... We're bringing the limit down. I think we have 4 now as maximum open micers that will allow. Now it's a 3-minute time limit. So 12 minutes of unfunny is a lot for a 2-hour comedy show.
Yeah.
So I'm always nervous, and I'm like, what's he going to do? And here's another thing is, like, we had one guy who was fairly funny, But afterwards, he goes, hey, make sure you don't steal my material. And I said, actually, as MC, I'm not even listening to your material. I'm just timing you. And I'm just listening for laughs. I don't remember what got a laugh, but I hear laughs, and that's fine.
That's good,
and then I'm checking the time. I said, by the way, I have my own act, and I'm trying to keep from forgetting that, so I'm really not listening to. Nobody's inviting you for open mic because they want to steal your material. It's a marketing gimmick. It gets people in. We get people who want to try open mic who otherwise wouldn't come to the show.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a community outreach kind of thing, but it's for us to sell tickets. And that's why we do it. So sometimes we'll have coat of arms. We had a guy go, hey, why do if I'm doing open mic, why do I have to buy a ticket? You have to buy a ticket to do open mic? No. Open mic is free. You have to buy a ticket to get in the damn bar, Yeah. Try that at a concert. It's like, I just want to see Eric Clapton. Why do I have to buy a ticket?
Yeah.
Well, because that gets you in. He's gonna invite me up. Yeah, but you have to be in the venue to be invited up. And so it's like we're not charging you to do open mic. Open mic is just a risk that we take to help people. Sometimes we get good, like Steve started in open mic. So sometimes we get people that work their way up to doing regular spots.
Honestly, I think one of the things that I found out is. Just the few times that I've done it, maybe 3 or 4 times. Most of the time, a lot of times it was a late show, so I was already out eating dinner. I had a few drinks, so I was a little bit more relaxed. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll do it, okay, and had a few more whiskeys, and then tell a few stories, and maybe some of it gets some attention. But more than anything, it was almost a good venting for me. I think sometimes,
That's why we don't do the open mic at the end anymore. We experimented a couple of times, and I prefer to do it at the beginning. One thing is people are, at the end, everybody's drunk and everybody wants to get on, and we're never going to get out of there. Everybody wants to do open mic after that because we made it look easy and everybody's very lubricated and inebriated. And the show kind of falls apart if we do it at the end because there's no hard ending,
And then also, I think, too, if you did it that way, a lot of the people would be listening to what was going on and kind of want to add on to that, or I've seen this, or I've done this too. My wife's that way too, and kind of it's not gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, it's hard at the end because you can't limit it to 4 because now everybody's on them. It's a free for all, and as an MC, my actual job is to get the comics on the train home, and when we're in Gifu and Toyohashi, it's even more important. We really have to hustle. And then even with the late show, we end at 11-ish, and those trains are tricky. And it's central Nagoya and the Sakai area, people that aren't familiar with Japan, but in the Nagoya area, catching the last train depends on which exit you go to. They close some of the exits. Yeah. It's very, very tricky.
Running around in circles.
It's nuts. So I think near Central Park, and you run over and it's closed. We're trying to get everybody on the train, including the customers, because if they won't come to the late show anymore, if they have to take a taxi back.
Yeah.
So we've got the elephant in the room. You're a little bit, what do we say, unique in some of the things you did on your open mic. Like I think one time you brought loaded ordnance or something.
No. It's just a souvenir from the time when I was in Iraq. It's a few shells.
Well, you know how the telephone game goes. So now legend has it that the one set of guy with live ordnance. That's what it's become.
yeah. That guy somehow has weapons in Japan. I don't know how that happened.
And then one of the most recent times, and you got up and you talked about your divorce, and you were really bringing everybody down.
Yeah. I was trying to throw some zingers in there, but at the same time, it was like it's funny because it's true, but then I don't know how to punch it up.
And I was thinking if I couldn't get a message to you, but I wanted to write, end with this. So I'm the teaser for the audience. I'm the one that gets you guys all. I'm the cheerleader for the show. So I just came here to cheer you guys up. Something like that. If you end with that, because it's funny because my act is really down like that too.
Yeah.
And I punch it up, but I'm talking about really dark stuff. So I think I said something like, that's my job to bring the audience down, to depress everybody.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show how difficult it is actually get up and do what you planned to do, because you got stuff going on, especially at GC. When we're there, that bar is very loud. I don't know if you ever noticed, but I can hear the ice going into classes and stuff. There's something about the acoustics where it shoots directly to the center of the stage. And, I'm there and I'm doing my bit and I can hear people go, do you want one cube of ice or 2 cubes of ice? And I can hear that. It's like in my ear.
The bathroom door slamming, you hear the lock click. And
So, it's very hard to concentrate. We have some other stuff we'll talk about in future shows. Would you join us again next week?
Yeah.
Chris?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, and this has been Chris with Mark Bailey, and you're listening to Talk Funny. You can get in touch with us at askportjapan@yahoo.com. It's a long story why we use that one, but it has spam control and some other things where if you send us a death threat, I can actually find out where you live. So that's just a good one that we use for that. Also, I just found this on iTunes. One of the tips is you can ask Siri now. You can ask Siri, play the latest episode of Talk Funny, and she'll do it. I did it last night. I was experimenting. It's very cool. So if you go to iTunes, we're also on there. Wherever you get your podcast, we're also available on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check out our show March 2nd at Coat of Arms in Fushimi. Doors open 7:30 p.m. and the show starts at roughly 8 to 10 p.m. and we're going to have open mic. We limit that to the first 4 people to sign up, so first come, first serve. And if you happen to do open mic with us, please pre-time your sets for 3 minutes, because we don't want to have to call you off the stage in the middle of your story. It might be your best story, so pre-time yourself to 3 minutes. And that way you don't have extra material, and you know that it's not longer than 3 minutes because you've already timed it, and that's all the material that you have. So check us out, Coat of Arms in Fushimi. Tickets at the door, 1,000 yen. And it's a great place, great food, and we really like that place a lot. So hope to see you March 2nd, Saturday. We'll see you next week.